We're telling followers, hey, what is up? It's 8 p.m. Welcome back to the Wisdom Well. We are introducing a new speaker tonight for the intensive workshop coming up on the 20th. So we are so happy that you're able to join us tonight. And we're going to be welcoming Shannon Olivares here. She is our third speaker for the Wisdom Well. But while she's getting connected here, hey, I want to know what sport would you compete in if you were in the Olympics? So drop that in the chat. Tell us what sport you would compete in if you were in the Olympics. Oh, there's Shannon. She just got on here with us.
Just adjusting my volume so I can hear you better. You were a little soft there.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea too. Make sure I got mine up here. But yeah, so we want to know what sport would you compete in if you were in the Olympics? That's what we're starting with tonight. Give us a shout out. Tell us in the chat, what sport would that be? I see Kisha has joined, and I got a feeling, well, Kisha used to run track, but I don't know if that's what she would do now, you know? So
I'm not racing her. I'm not racing either of you because you both use track, right? Not touching you.
So
I was good in the water, and the joke was good on good in water, crap on land.
Well,
Except when I
Kisha
played
put curling
on lacrosse, but for running, yeah.
Shannon, she went all the way from the Summer Olympics to curling. She went to the Winter Olympics there too.
We joke about that. My girlfriends and I, when we lived in Florida, they opened a curling center down there. And we said, it's a sport that age doesn't touch, right? You just have to learn the skill. So we said, we could still achieve my dream of the Olympics if I just pick a sport like curling or equestrian. Because you see some of us, 4-decade-plus people doing some of that stuff. So
That's right.
I'll find
we got
something. I'll go as a coach one day, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
we got somebody putting sleeping in there. I didn't know that was an Olympic sport, but that'd be pretty funny. I think a lot of people want to compete in that one. I think I'd have to go with, if I could play basketball, I would, but I'd have to go with track and field and still try to do the long jump. So Kisha, the curling, man, that's cracking me up. But I could see it. Like, we could do a little husband-wife team. That'd be fun.
If we ever take a trip down to Florida, we'll have to find it. I don't remember. It was in between Orlando and Miami, closer to Miami, like Hialeah or something like that. So,
Okay.
But it had just opened, but we never got a chance to go before we moved back north.
Oh, man. So anybody else, drop it in the chat. What would you do? Serena, I saw you jump on there. How you doing? Lincoln, hello. How are you tonight? We'll also do, what is your most used emoji? If you're on there, tell us what your most used emoji is. I have to think about that. I don't know what my most used emoji is. Maybe thumbs up, probably. Oh, looks like we just got Kelly joining us tonight. Kelly, how you doing? Glad to see you. Yeah.
I think I way overused the laughing emoji.
The laughing emoji?
That one or the one like this when I do something. I was like,
yeah, I use that one a lot too.
why are you eating Baconator fries again?
Yeah, absolutely. I use that one a lot too. Oh, we got Sheila. Sheila's got the crying emoji. Yep, so that's right on. Nice. So, yeah, well, you know what, guys? We're going to jump in. It's like 8:03, so we're going to jump in tonight. So, again, I'm Harrison. I'm back here with you for week 3 as we talk to our intensive workshop speakers. So, Shannon is our speaker who we're going to be talking to tonight for our Goals, Purpose, Strategies Intensive. So remember, here at the Wisdom Well, we want you to elevate your perspective. We want you to engage in meaningful relationships. We want you to energize your life with purpose and evolve into the woman you were meant to be. So tonight, we are talking to Shannon Olivares. She's a former elite athlete and entrepreneur. Shannon knows what it's like to lay it all down to become the person you've always wanted to be without giving up the things that matter most in the process. She will coach you into your next season with compelling passion and personal growth advice. Shannon is an athlete. She's a mom. She is a wife. And she's one of our closest friends. So good evening, Shannon. How are you today?
Very good. How about you? I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
Getting close. It's getting closer. I'm excited. I'm still excited you have your tree up. You're crazy like me. It's probably January.
We had it up. So I was like, well, we're going to put it on there one more time while it's still up. But yeah. So.
Well, in Puerto Rico, we celebrate Three Kings Day. So that's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I actually tried to convince my wife to let me leave it up for a year one time, and she wasn't going for it. So,
I had all the seasons planned out that it would be Valentine's Day, then Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor. Yeah, I had a whole cycle too.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That battle. That and the thermostat. I lose those battles in my house. I'm always cold. They're always hot. They have that island blood. What can I say?
That's funny. We're so alike. I'm the cold one, kids in the hot one. So that same thing. Hey, well, let's jump in. So, sure. Shannon, we're starting off with, if you were shipwrecked on a deserted island, but all your human needs, such as food and water, were taken care of, what 2 items would you want to have with you?
Well, first and foremost, I know this is going to sound strange coming from a swimmer, but I would be grateful that I got shipwrecked actually to the island, because I have a healthy, unhealthy fear of sharks. So I'm glad I was able to swim and make it to the island safely. So if my family wasn't with me, first and foremost, I would have to have something of my family on me. Okay. A picture, a photo album. My practical side says it has to be a picture of a photo album. My fun side, the free side, says it should be a cell phone that never runs out of battery. I can talk to them, but I know it has to be a picture. And then I am a woman of faith, and I would want a Bible with me, because I know it would be challenging to get through those times. But those are 2 things that help fuel my passion. They're my why. They're my everything that I do, and that would help me keep motivated to push through those tough days of being isolated on the island. Okay. But if I could do something that never ran out of battery, it'd be a satellite radio, because then we could dance. I could get some podcasts to learn how to get off the island and have some sports along the way too. So.
No, I'm liking that. I feel that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your passion, your family. Tell us, who is Shannon?
Big passion of mine, and we just touched on it, right? Family first. It's why we left the hot tropical sun and moved up back into the winter time too. But besides family, I just have a passion for people and community. Like, I really want to walk into every environment or person, place, or thing and leave it better off as best as I can than I found it. And I have a tremendous passion for women because of who people stepped into my life when I was younger. Women of all walks of life, all ages, to teach them how to get unstuck and use what they have in their hands now to get to be who they want to be, who they're meant to be, not just who the world told them to be. Because there's just lots of pulls and expectations on women, and almost seemingly from birth, we're pitted against one another as competition. You're seen as my competition instead of my ally, and that's so not true. So I'm just very passionate about breaking those labels that aren't meant to be on us, and some of them that we just inherit along the way, and really giving my life experience and sharing my life and meeting them where they are to help them move forward to who they want to be.
Oh, okay. And
as far as family goes, because you asked about my family, we are an Italian Rican family.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise, I'm the Italian side, the pale skin and the dark eyes. I have been lucky to be married to my husband just shy of 20 years. We've been together for 23, and together we have 2 beautiful, amazing kids that keep us busier than belief, but they are the light of our lives. Right. So our house is always full of lots of laughter and dancing, and just way, there's too much food and talking with our hands, which is why I'm trying to keep my hands down. That's a work in progress. But,
that's okay.
It is. We all have our things.
That's right. That's okay. So next question. Here we go. For a couple of years, I've been sitting on 2 classes that I need to finish to have another degree. Yet I keep waiting, and it gets harder each year. So part of what you were talking about is delaying now for later, and how later becomes never. So tell me, why do we do this? And then tell me, as my mentor, how would you coach me with that?
First of all, you're not alone, right? We've all been there, myself included. I have let too many laters become nevers, which is why I'm passionate about it, because I've learned some skills that stop me from doing that, or at least shorten the time of the never, right? The never now from a year doesn't become 10 years. But I think a lot of times it's because we just overestimate what we can do in a day versus what we can do in a year, right? And so we just jam pack our days, and as we go along and we see at the end of the day, I didn't get through half of my things I wanted to do. As that builds on top of itself, we get discouraged, we get disappointed, we get disenchanted, and it gets harder to show up with our best selves the next day. I think something else is just busyness, right? The world that we live in today is very busy, and there's lots of distractions pulling us in 18 different directions, and some seemingly good distractions, or some opportunities seem like wow, that's a great opportunity. Problem was, it wasn't the best opportunity for you. And the longer, like you said, the longer we stay away from it, the harder it gets to go back to it. And then the third thing I just think is sometimes we have those moments where life knocks you off your feet sometimes. Mm-hmm. It knocks you off course. It knocks the breath out of you. And you need some time to kind of reset, refresh. And that's where community is vital, because it takes a lot longer if you don't have people around you to help you through that process. And if I was mentoring you through that, I would give you this encouragement. Now, it's not going to sound like encouragement, but I promise you that I promise. Waiting to climb that mountain never makes it any smaller. It never makes it any smaller. Unfortunately, it just actually does the opposite for us, right? The more we wait to take that step and to climb that mountain, the more anxious we get that we think we can't anymore. It actually gets bigger to us, not smaller. So, and unfortunately, nobody ever accidentally goes uphill, right? A lot of us fall downhill, and it takes us 2-3 times faster to get back uphill, but no one accidentally goes uphill. It has to be intentional, break that cycle, take some action steps. And that's what we'll talk about at the conference. How do you break those cycles? Here's a strategy when you notice that happening. Instead of landscaping those mountains, I'm going to take a step that breaks that. And we have to decide. Like when you go to bed tonight or wake up in the morning, I want you to think about, is it going to be one day more that I'm not taking a step up that mountain, or is this going to be day one? Yep. We have to just start drawing lines in the sand with that stuff. That's the only way we push past things.
I love that the mountain is not going to get any smaller because I'm waiting. I'm going to steal that. Every week I steal something from somebody.
Hey, I stole your Lego things. You can take that. No problem.
That was so good. So tell me, why is this topic near and dear to your heart, Shannon? And like, did something happen to you to make this a passion of yours? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
A couple things, and I won't go into detail about it. I had one of those moments where life just kind of knocked you off your feet, and I was young, and I was at a stage where that really was shaping a lot of my belief systems about myself and who I thought I could be or how far I thought I could go based on my circumstances. And I was blessed to have a coach at that time, and I wish he would have lived long enough to be with me my whole time. But he stepped into a place in the space that other people couldn't, because I was angry, I was mad, I was hurt, I was hurting, but I was gifted with ability at sport. And this coach stepped into that gap, and he instilled a belief in me. He saw me where I was. He saw me for who I was then, but he also saw potential. And he instilled a belief in me before I believed in myself. And it changed the trajectory of my life. Wow. And so I'm so motivated to do that for other people, because he told me that your circumstances don't dictate your potential. And your current situation isn't your future destination, but you got to dream big, kid. You got to go for stuff. And you got to step scared. And you're going to be scared, and that's okay, but you got to go, because you're going to have a more uphill battle than some, because your starting line is further back, but it's not impossible. So that fire lives inside of me that I want to instill that in other people, because if him and other people didn't come around me and do that, number one, I would have settled for a lot more laters to become nevers. And number two, I probably would have been a broken statistic at this point.
Okay. I like the steps, Carrot. That's so true in everything that we got to do. We got to take that first step, no matter and just get out there and do it. Since you brought up your coach, there, like, you coach your daughter's softball team, and as a swimmer, you've been coached. What strategies do you see as a coach when there is a roadblock? Like, what do you use, and how do you get around it?
I think first and foremost, we have to teach people that failure is just part of the process. It's part of the process. You're going to make mistakes. It's one of the best ways you actually learn. And unfortunately, like many of you out there, that is the most miserable part of my journey, right? I don't like to fail, and I borderline hate to lose, but it's really where the growth and the stretching and the stepping into the next phase of who you can be. Because if we always stay comfortable where we are, we never grow to where we need to go, and we don't get to start where we want to end up at. We have to grow where we need to go. And one of the things I tell my girls, since they're softball players, I say, look, in baseball, when you're in a slump or you're frustrated, the Hall of Fame hitters, right? And you and I have talked about this before. Yep. In a course of a career of 8 to 10 years, if they're lucky, if they're able to hit 300, or above 300, you are considered the elite of the elite.
That's right.
You are in the Hall of Fame, almost signed, sealed, delivered. Like they're making your bust in Canton right now. But what that means is you're missing 7 out of the 10 times. You are failing by standards. Ground ball, pop up, strikeout, doesn't matter. You are failing 7 out of 10 times. But that's how you grow. And if it's in the game and they make a mistake, I want them to know. If it's something we've been working on, I'm going to give you a cue. And that's the same in life. If you're in the middle of something and you make a mistake and you fall on your face and you just messed it all up and you're embarrassed, or you knew the right thing to do, but you just didn't do the right thing, or you're stumbling all over your words, or things just aren't even working out. In that moment, what I tell my girls, I need you to have the memory of a goldfish.
That's right.
I need you, my husband likes to say, turn the page. I need you to let it go and keep being you. Your next best thing that you can do is the next choice you can make. The next ball you can get, the next step you can take, because that's all you have control of. That moment's gone, it's past, we can't get it back. We'll work on it, I promise you, we're gonna come back to it. I still believe in you, you need to still believe in you. Go out there, be aggressive. You may even make another mistake, and we're just gonna turn the page, memory of a goldfish, keep going. And then after the fact, what we do is we evaluate, right? Because experience is a good teacher, but evaluated experience is the best teacher. So we will look at those things. We will go through it from a position of encouragement and how does this help you go? And then we'll build strategies, trainings, steps for them to work on to help minimize those mistakes. Not completely erase them, because I don't want to set them up for failure, to minimize those mistakes. And gradually over time, they'll start making new mistakes, or they'll start making that mistake in a different way. But you just alleviate that pressure that it's progress over perfection, and it also allows them to keep showing up, showing them things that I can do, show them things you can do. It builds confidence over time, and then they're bold enough to step out there because they're not afraid to fail.
I like it. Progress over perfection. That's another one. So you got me. I got 2 of them for me tonight. This is actually, I've got so much more, but those I can use when talking to my kids, and I coach some kids also. So like, yeah, that is great stuff right there. So if someone's on the fence about coming to the intensive workshop, what are 2 things you would tell them that would improve their 2023 by being there?
As women, we are terrible at investing in ourselves. We just are. We invest our time, our energy, our resources in everybody else, and we save ourselves for last. You have to invest in you. No investment, no return, right? Like we have to make the time, make the space, make the capacity. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. It's either going to be, and some of us already feel it, right? It's what, the 5th day of January? I'm losing some days this week because we're really busy. But some of us are already feeling that the things we swore off on December 31st, and I'm not bringing from 2022 to 2023, you're already catching yourself feeling those things or bringing those old habits in. We have to decide that we are going to invest to learn different ways of doing things, because we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we get to the end of ourselves and we hit those walls because we're not meant to break through them alone, right? We need other people. We need community. We need other people that have gone before us or have come alongside us to say, hey, I've been there, try this. And so it's either one day more that I'm letting that later become never, or it's day one of your new start, of you becoming who you want to be, who you're meant to be, and your purpose for whatever your goals are, because your goals will be different than everybody else for 2023. So I'll just leave you with, it's either one day or day one. The choice is yours. And I wouldn't wait till January 20th. You get your ticket today, or you already have it, or you're thinking about it. Start thinking now about what you want to do that day so you hit the ground running, because it's going to be fun, but it's going to be a lot of work. And I know how much work these ladies and this gent has put into this event, and it's going to be tremendous. You're going to walk away not only feeling energized and a fire inside you, but more importantly, with tangible things that you can do to walk out what you want to do in your life.
That's right. Man, you summed up my closing there. Like, you used everything I was going to say. But I love
we say we are very similar. So, but you know.
But I loved it though, Shannon. No investment, no return. Like, you have to invest in yourself. So, ladies, by all means, you want to come out to this intensive workshop. It is going to be like something you haven't done before. This is not just a conference per se, when you're just going to sit there. We are involving you in what's going on that day, and you're gonna love it. So you've met now Shannon, you've met Angela, and you've met Kelly. Next week we have coming up, we got Coach Joni Bockham Robinson, and she's going to be on here on our live next week on the 11th. But again, I leave you with what Shannon said. Take the time to invest in you. You have to invest in you, for your future. So thank you, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.